So let me introduce to you Charisma Carpenter, James Marsters, and Kristine Sutherland. Take it in.
Oh my God, you guys! There's so many of you. Holy moly. Holy moly.
How absolutely incredible is this to look out in this room of so many fans at so many different ages? I mean, this show is iconic and continues to find new fans.
Yep, I knew it. I did. I was the one, I was a Star Trek fan. I've been coming to the convention since I was 13 dressed as Spock, right? And like I saw those episodes 50 times each. I knew all the dialogue. I knew it was going to happen, and I still wanted to go back into that world because the world, I think, was the OG Star Trek, if anyone has seen that one. It was selling hope, basically, you know, like we don't have to destroy ourselves. We might survive survive ourselves and come into a better future. And so I wanted to go back into that world, and it struck me while we were filming that Buffy might be the same way. We might be creating a world that was fun enough to go into that people would want to come back even when they knew what was going to be said. And I remember coming to the cast, I don't know if you guys were filming with me, but it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, hey guys, we might be talking about this scene for the rest of our lives. Anyone want coffee?
What about for y'all? Was there sort of a moment in, the filming or when you started going to the conventions yourself where you realized this is big and it's going to continue to be big?
Strangely enough, like two things that are kind of the opposite, which was that the very first episode that we shot, I remember thinking, this is something really special. And it was just this gut feeling that this wasn't just, like, hey, we'll have what it was that we did for 6 or something, and then we'll see how it goes. I thought, this is really incredibly different. And then the other thing was that, because I didn't do the con thing for a while, so I kind of didn't know that they were even happening. Mom kind of out of touch. And I remember at one point we couldn't find my earrings. And I was like, no one's going to notice. And they went, are you kidding me?
I remember one time I was on set and Gail Berman, who is one of the producers of Buffy and was actually the one who championed the show to the WB. And she said, Charisma, is there anywhere you would want to be right now? It kind of made me realize that the show was just going to be so successful. And so it would just open a lot of doors for me. And is there anywhere else you would want to be? Is there anyone you want to work with that you can think of? And of course, as an actor, you immediately go, well, Martin Scorsese, or of course, that's always in the back. You had this training all your life when you're an actor to be of all the people you want to work with. But in that moment, my answer to Gail was, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. I feel like this show it's on a network that it's allowing the creator to create without a lot of interference, which is incredibly rare. I was coming off of Malibu Shores on NBC, and the show was always being intervened on. So you knew that was kind of an interesting thing where that's unusual. Oh, he must be really trusted. He must be really doing it well. It must be going well to be left alone. And then I think I also felt that the actors seemed so well cast that, at the time Joss had done Toy Story and, an Alien, I think, and there were just so many indicators that the people involved were very prestigious. Sand Dollar, who is Sandy Gallen, and Dolly Parton, who is an unsung Buffy hero. I just felt like I don't think there is anywhere else for me to be right now but exactly where I am. And I think that those were sort of like the telltale signs early on.
Dolly Parton, what?
Dolly Parton. I feel
Is
like
a
this recently
producer.
came out. She was
No, Sand Dollar is one of the producers of the show. Sandy Gallen and Buffy. Dolly Parton created Sand Dollar. You didn't know that? I had no idea. Helping.
Do you think she likes us?
Oh, I
mean,
think so.
really likes us?
Like in a Sally Field kind of way?
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, she does.
She might be out here right now. If
That would be
anyone's sitting next to Dolly, please let us know.
They'd probably know.
I mean,
Yeah.
Dolly Parton is by far, if I could go to dinner with anybody in my life or anybody that was living or not living, she would definitely be on my dinner list.
It's like George Harrison producing Time Bandits.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
That's awesome. Okay. So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
it's awesome. Yeah, we're fanning out, fangirling, fanboying,
All of the fanning.
all of the fanning.
Well, and I mean, your character, Cordelia Chase, at first glance, like this should be a character that, for those of us watching the show at the time, kind of at the first represented the people in our own lives, and yet you immediately just became this fan favorite. You were in the Scooby Gang. You became the character that we somehow wanted to be friends with.
Oh. Aw.
In spite of those just perfectly timed digs and like just the level of sarcasm. It's fantastic.
It was really fun. It was really fun to play. And I'll tell you, when I was doing Malibu Shores before, so I was doing Buffy and Malibu Shores at the same time, they took me in second position on Buffy. And I remember when I was going into the Aaron Spelling audition for Ashley Greene, he said a couple of things. You need to find the bitch within. And he explained that Heather Locklear was like a perfect example of a very nice woman who found the bitch within. So go home for your callback and find the bitch within. Well, apparently I did. And then I was cast as a bitch again. So I guess I found the bitch within. But I don't know that it was immediately a fan favorite experience because I remember never being bothered by anybody. I would travel
We were afraid
to
of you.
Las Vegas. Nobody scares you. And I would go to Vegas, I would go out, and people would never, I mean, you can sense when somebody recognizes you, there's just a crackle in the air or too long of a glance or just like they light up a little bit, but they want to say something, but they don't know what to say. And, you sense that, right? But I was kind of shy too, so I didn't know to say anything, and they would say something, but I think they were really just afraid to say something to me because I was so mean.
You were such a good actor. That was the
I
problem.
am
I
still
thought
a good
you
actor.
are. Yes, you are. But I mean,
Correction.
correction.
Thank
correct.
you.
But I thought you were like Cordelia, which is
Yeah.
why we never got to know each other.
I know, we
until
love
we did
telling this
Supernatural.
story.
Yeah, I just avoided you because I was like, she's got to be like her character. There's no way. Yeah, and then we were filming Supernatural, and we were backstage waiting.
Yeah.
Right?
Great
And
show, right?
It's like we're
SPN
talking
fan.
back, we're waiting for the setup, and we're talking, and suddenly I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I've been judging you for years. I'm an idiot. You're a really nice person. She's like, yeah, but why didn't we ever get to know each other? I was like, because I'm a fool. Sorry.
I mean, so I was even judged by my castmates. Like nobody would. Joyce, did you like me?
I did. I thought you
Oh,
were
God.
unbelievably funny.
Oh,
my
thank
God,
you.
your timing was amazing.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I was very fond of you, and you're like I'm such a big fan of yours as well. And isn't she just the sweetest with the sweetest voice and like the perfect mother? And you know what I mean? You were so endearing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed our scene.
I absolutely second that comment about your comedic timing. Like,
Oh,
it
thank
is
you.
spot on brilliant every time you deliver a line like that. But I feel like we need to clear the air for you. Cordelia Chase, y'all, how much did we love that character?
Don't make me cry, okay? I'm on stage. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Well,
I
and
mean, I've always enjoyed watching you guys. And, I remember when I went over to Angel, and one of the first scenes that I saw you do in the dailies was when you were you were narrating Angel down in the alley with, do you know what scene I'm talking about, you guys? Right? And he's like, oh, I'm like a poof Care Bear. Like you were mocking him. I fell in love with your character. And every time somebody asks me if you could play any other character in the Buffyverse, which would it be? I'm like, Spike. I want to be Spike.
You're a good Spike. Yeah.
I think I would really try. I think that would be fun. I think that would be really fun. Maybe I should go at 90s Con. You go in a cheerleading uniform, and I'll go as Spike.
You
and we'll do
say-
photo ops. Oh
You
my
did
God,
say
how
you
funny
love
was that?
dressing
Or
up.
the cat uniform for Halloween.
Oh, do the cheerleader.
You do the cheerleader? You guys.
You heard it here first. It's happening.
Dare
Funny
we?
story about that episode, which was I wasn't in the cast yet. I was just I was just coming on for one episode. I was so jealous of David because my girlfriend at the time got jealous of me and Drusilla because Juliet and I became friends. We never became more than that because we're both professionals, but my girlfriend could not stand that we had become friends. So she said that she had a crush on David, so I hated David. So when I went over to his show, I couldn't stand that I was shorter than him. I couldn't stand that. So
honest.
Right. So I put lifts in my shoes. And if you watch that episode, you'd be like, Spike's a bit tall. And so then when I got into the cast, I was like, what am I gonna do, man? Like I can't wear lifts for the whole time. It's ridiculous. So I was just like,
Why? Girls wear heels every time.
yeah, but heels, you're admitting it, you know. So I just took, I didn't even do that when I got on the show. But it's kind of funny.
Does David know this story? Have you told David this?
I don't think so.
Well, we're gonna have a chance in
yeah,
Chicago.
yeah, exactly.
He's watching
gonna
right
love it. Oh my God.
So far you've admitted that you were scared of Charisma.
Yeah.
You did not like David because you were jealous.
Horrible because he was so nice to me from day one. Like he showed me where the bathrooms were on the soundstage. Like he was that guy. You're gonna be fine, dude. This is where the bathrooms are. He like took me under his wing and all. He was great the whole time. I was just a little punk. Horrible.
Speaking of little punks, Spike. So you shared that when you originally came on the show, you had, I think you had said like a 5 or 6 episode arc, and then you were supposed to be killed off.
Yeah.
And that changed. Can you talk about sort of how that changed and what led to that?
Well, I was supposed to be in between 5 and 10 episodes, and the producers explained that I was a soulless vampire who cared about no one and loved nothing, and that vampires and Buffy were just metaphors for what you're supposed to get over, the challenges that you were to overcome. So vampires are designed to be killed. So you're here to die, basically. And if it works out, you'll get more like 10, but we'll see. And I was like, okay. And then they turned around, and I was like, F that, man. Like, if I play it the way they want me to play it, they're going to kill me off in 5, for sure. Like, the way to connect with the audience is you got to find the love, I have found. And it doesn't have to be like sweet love. It can be betrayed love, frustrated love. But love's got to be in there, and that's the gold in the mountain, as I say, as I like to think of it. And so I just played love for Drusilla in the beginning. And
then you met me.
Yes, right. No, seriously. I was really looking forward to that because Spike, I sensed, and it was in the writing, because I'm like, do you have any more marshmallows, Yeah. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to be very vulnerable in this scene. This is good. They're not going to kill me off if I'm good at this.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah. No,
that's
that was
when I
so
thought.
fun.
When that scene came down, I was like, oh, they're not. Maybe I'm gonna stay. Yeah.
How could you kill a vampire who loves baby
Marshmallows.
marshmallow?
Yeah.
That's a safe word.
But I was only. Is it really?
Okay, hold on. Why you said that?
Oh,
was
boy.
The massage therapist said she was a massage. I had a massage last night. It was Casey Jones, by the way. She's fabulous. She gave me a wonderful massage, and then she was like, "Is this too hard?" And she made some joke, and I'm like, "No, it's not." And then she said that somebody had told her, started screaming out marshmallow on her, and she didn't know what that meant. And then she had to explain that it was her safe word. And I'm like, "Do I need a safe word?" And now you're talking about marshmallow, and my brain went to marshmallow. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I'm so rude.
You are
Please
awesome.
carry on.
Oh my God. I was just gonna say that the reason that I got into the cast in the 4th season is because they needed a new Cordelia. Because you had gone over to Angel, and
I always love when you say these things. I mean, do you know this is
Yeah.
fact, or are you pontificating?
No,
Are
no,
you
Sarah told me.
wondering? Pontificating is the right word. Are you?
oh, I'm
conjecturing?
definitely pontificating.
Is it conjecture? Is what I mean to
No,
say.
because Sarah told me.
Sarah told you. Okay.
Yeah, because they were talking. She was talking with producers about who should replace Cordelia because they needed a character.
I thought that was Emma. I thought that was Anya's character. I mean, you were just so you.
I think I was I don't know. It was,
Do you guys know?
but Sarah said that she's the one that said Spike should be the new Cordelia.
Okay.
She took credit for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's the character to say, Buffy, you're stupid. We're all gonna die.
Okay. Now I know.
Yeah. So that I had to try to live up to Cordelia, which was not easy. And then I couldn't get in the room without lighting on fire, so it wasn't working out in the beginning, like at all.
Someone has to be the brutally honest marshmallow in the room. Keep everyone safe.
The crew hated me, like in the beginning, because how do you get Spike into the room to tell Buffy she's dumb when he lights on fire? So he's always coming in a smoking blanket, and they always had this, they had to like smoke out the whole set for Spike's entrance to the crew. And it's time for Spike to come on, the whole crew was like, oh God. I thought I was dead. I was like, they're gonna kill me off. They just
Was
can't
it
take
at least like a one-take thing, or did you?
No, as many as is necessary. So the one for the long shot, and you need,
I mean,
4 shots.
sometimes it was like Kubrick on a set. Remember that story about Tom Cruise having to enter the room in that Kubrick film for Eyes Wide Shut 87 times or 92 times? Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. We worked up to 20 hours
No
a
wonder
day,
the crew
y'all.
hated you.
Yeah.
Can't you just walk through a
tried.
door?
Yeah, exactly. I'd have hated me too. I was hating myself, Yeah.
We're just ticking down the list of revelations
should
about
we call
James.
in a therapist? I think we need to have a group therapy.
Well, no, when
Could
you're,
you
when you're
imagine
in a
Buffy
blanket.
the Vampire Slayer
No,
and
man,
cast
like,
having
you're-
group therapy?
You're in this blanket, and they just puff a bunch of smoke up in your face, and you got to not cough and then enter so it billows out. You would hate life too, man. Like,
And the bleaching of the hair. And, I mean, so many things.
that sucked.
A lot
I mean,
of up.
we're really processing here with you today.
Spoilers, I'm also a therapist. I'm very much not.
Thanks.
Kristine, we have Joyce. You were the warm blanket. You were the hug. You were also in a time when we had series like My So-Called Life and Dawson's Creek, where like the parents were going through it openly in front of their children and dealing with a lot of stuff. You were a different type of foil for Buffy as a parent. Can you sort of talk about that and your role in the show?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce.
My mother was a single mother at a time when being divorced was really kind of not socially acceptable. So it made us just kind of like a bubble of our own, and I really felt like a piece of that. I got to work out a piece of that, and I think it just is a whole different thing when you're a single mother and you've gone through a divorce. There's a certain amount of, I don't know, like failure or something, and it makes no, it makes your relationship with your children different. It's not like you're the almighty powerful mother. It's like, you're both like gonna have made mistakes, and so I really loved that. I mean, one of my favorite scenes was when, oh gosh, what's the name of that episode? It was and it was part 2 when she had her birthday, and it was like an absolutely exhausting, emotional 2-episode arc, and she comes home and the cupcake is burning, and it was just like I sensed how awful things had been for her, but I knew enough to not ask, to just like give her a big hug. So that was nice. Just like learning those kinds of boundaries, when to be there, when not to be there. So it was good practice for my mothering as it, came around. And my daughter grew up, so.
Let's rip their hearts out. Of course, one of the most memorable episodes of the series is the body and Joyce's death. I mean, Kristine, how far in advance did you know that was happening, and how did you prepare for an episode like that?
Well, there wasn't really much to prepare, but I did know about it about a year and a half before because I went to Italy and, Josh said, that's fine, you can leave, but, I just need to know you're coming back because I'm going to kill you. So I was like, yes, I'm coming back. So I knew it was going to happen. I didn't tell anybody, but I really didn't know which episode it was going to be until the script arrived. But it was kind of neat in a way to know so far ahead because it just it's like having a terminal illness. You just know that this is so special, and every moment, every episode, it really made it much more tender for me, knowing it was hard to leave too. It was really, it was hard.
Well, I mean, even just now I can see the bond that y'all have with each other. And Charisma, you've been sharing photos from back in the day of just the whole baby cast at cons. I'd love to know, from the time filming, like, what are some of the fondest memories that you all have from your experiences with each other?
I mean, those were long hours till, they called Saturdays Fraturdays, because we would start work at 4 p.m. and get off Saturday morning at 7 a.m. and then be at work on Monday morning at 5 a.m. and it would just get later and later and later. And when you have to work such insane hours and it's very difficult to nurture your personal relationships, it's nearly impossible. It's nearly impossible to maintain a relationship with your family. Like, are you coming home for Christmas? I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea when I'm getting off. I don't know. We don't have that episode yet. There's just a lot of living that you kind of miss out on. So you kind of have this family this cast that becomes your family, in a sense, that you can kind of miss those holidays or funerals or Mother's Days or birthdays that mean something to you. But if you don't make those connections with your castmates, then it could be really, really hard, right? So I think there's it's maybe like trauma bonding in a way. Like, gosh, like in a way you're just experiencing things, dynamics are happening, the show's blowing up, you're missing out on relationships and friendships. You can't, there was a point in time where I wouldn't be able to even check my messages because there would be so many messages that it was just too daunting and I was too tired. I just couldn't do it, so there was like a withdrawal that happens. So I think the fondness comes from moments where, like I can still picture Nikki all the time rocking in his rocking chair and in his trailer. I remember having to bring my dogs to set because I worked so often, and then my dog Hobie, a beautiful blonde, handsome fellow that got by on his good looks his whole life, would have separation anxiety and claw through the door of the trailer, and I would just be freaking out and thinking I'm gonna get fired because my dog ate the door. I mean, there are just so many different like moments, or like whenever we would have big epic scenes in the library that would take all day to shoot, and then we'd have big lighting sequences with Michael Grossman, who's very talented, and then it would be a matter of like eating and sleeping in the chairs and sharing books and tossing popcorn at each other and seeing if we can catch it, and just living, trying to find life between setups. That was all fun to me.
This is the thing for me. When you're in sleep deprivation, when you're doing 22 episodes a year, 9 months of 18 to 20-hour days, and you're sleeping like 4 hours a night and working for 20 hours, you get into this. Your short-term memory basically evaporates. And we used to play a game with each other during lunch, which was, quick, what did we shoot this morning? And I'm like, I got nothing. I don't know. I'm just trying to get my lines down for the afternoon, man. Leave me alone. Like So I don't like. You asked your question. I'm like, I don't really remember very much about that time period, you know. But everything that you said, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. But what I do know is that I feel we bonded, and you said, what did you say? It was like a bonding of trauma bonding, because, well, this is the thing though. It's like this might be just me, but I think it was everybody really. Is that we would get these scripts that were so perfect, they were so amazing. You'd read it and you'd be like, oh my God, there's so much gold in here, and knowing we're not going to get it all. We are going to, in some way, fail this script. Working as quickly as you work in television, there's always going to be some little golden nugget, some reaction between characters that we forget or we can't quite get right. And I think that the scripts are more fun to read than to watch on television, in all honesty. So there's this pressure to live up to these scripts, knowing that you never would. And that can drive you crazy.
I never felt that way.
Really?
No, that's so interesting to me. I never felt like I'm not going to, I mean, I had my own issues going on, but in terms of like not feeling, I always felt like they took the time to get, but I have gone home in my car and going, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, I should have said it like this. So is that what you mean?
Yeah, but
okay,
like,
so
maybe like,
yeah.
for me it was just constant, like.
No, I mean, you're so good. You're just so good.
Like I was failing the whole time.
Oh my
But
God,
the
you're
thing-
so in your head.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, we were under a lot of pressure. We were
Oh, of
working really
course.
hard.
Word perfect.
And I feel I've never been a soldier, but I know I have friends who are. And there are things that they will not tell me about being at war, because I wouldn't understand, because I wasn't there, you know. But they're bonded with those people. They've seen the best and the worst in them. They love them. They love them so deeply because they know them so well. And that's how I feel about the Buffy cast. We have been through everything, heaven and hell, everything in between, and love you all. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And I also just feel about what you were saying that even though that I didn't get to know you on set and we kind of bonded on Supernatural, which was way later, everything that you say I know because I was there. Like, so I do get what you're saying. So there is that connection, that lived experience that connects us. Yeah, for sure. And respect. I have tremendous respect for this group. Are you guys okay out there? Do you need a laugh?
We should
I
open
feel like
up
we're
to questions.
so serious.
So
Yeah,
serious.
so serious.
We're going to open up for questions in just a few moments. Actually, there are 2 microphones somewhere. Yeah. They're on the side. Oh, look at that. Okay, I was like, am I really bad at this?
Can I do something real quick?
Yeah.
Is it anybody on the
legal?
house lights? Can we bring the house lights up for just a second? Just a second. Or maybe like 1 minute. Who knows? Okay, guys. I'd like to do a little film of anyone that is cosplaying and anything that I do or has a tattoo, and I film them and I put that on social media as a little film.
Now?
I'd like to give them a round of applause after that, and then I put that on social media. Can you guys give me applause?
So we're looking for a big applause from everybody. All right, so we're going to get a big old action from you.
So many of you. Oh my God, that goes all the way back. Thank you so much.
I love having the house lights up so we can see you.
This is like 750 people.
Times a
800.
few.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know houses. This is more than 5.
Can you tell this guy's in a rock band? Like, you just walked out there and controlled that.
Yeah.
Before we go to questions, you want to talk about your band?
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. Ghost of the Robot is the band I've been in since 2001. We just recorded our 6th album. It was amazing. We got a good, dirty, ferocious rock album. We got 13 tracks in 3 days because we knew how to play. And we just released, I don't know if anyone's in LA on March 14th, but if you are, We're playing the Mint, which is one of the best clubs in LA. You get tickets. And we just released the first single off the album called Civilized Man. If you go to Bandcamp, you can listen to it 3 times for free. Then you got to pay $1. And you can get there if you go on my Twitter, James Marsters OF, like official, but it's of James Marsters of on Twitter. Just punch the link in my latest tweet, and you'll get there, and it'll all be good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so when we go to questions, please tell us your name and where you're from. We'll go ahead and start with the Grinch over here. Hi.
Hello, my name's Liz, and I'm from Seattle by way of Chicago. And my question is, what is the absolute funniest scene or episode that each of you really connected with, where you'll never forget that scene or episode because it was just so funny?
Every single episode.
Good answer.
See, we're running into the memory problem that I described earlier. I don't know, it's on Angel, but the puppet episode on Angel, like, that was hard to film because we were all cracking up all the time, because we just started to believe that was really Angel. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah. So that, for me, that was the one that put me in stitches while filming. Yeah.
I think the Halloween episode. Jojo, the dog-faced boy. You?
Oh, I would say one of the most absurd was, oh my gosh, my memory. Oh my God, who played Ted?
Oh, John Ritter.
Yeah, John Ritter.
John Ritter, who was so amazing.
Wait, no, did he play Ted or the robot? Wait, was Ted the robot?
Ted was the robot.
Ted was the robot.
Yeah.
Okay, I am okay.
Yeah. No, that was wild because I was, usually the mother, and it was like, oh, this is John Ritter. How are you? I just am such a big fan.
Wow.
And then we went right into a makeout scene.
Dang, Joyce.
Who's got that?
That was memorable.
And that was a really rather dramatic role for him. He played against type.
Yeah. He was amazing, though, when the robot kept kind of breaking through.
Yeah, it was a great episode.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The troll. There's a troll at one point in Buffy.
Why did you immediately
Big old
point to
troll.
me when you were like, the
Because
troll?
I remembered your question. It wasn't your question. Why am I pointing at you? The troll. Oh, she's gone. Yeah, what was it? The troll came, and the dude was huge, and I just remember the troll was really scary on action, but then cut. He'd be like, hey, anyone got a sandwich? That was good.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Grant. I'm from the beautiful, uber moist city of Seattle.
Moist.
And Kristine, I'm the one that asked you about casting at Portland last year, but if you guys kidnapped James Gunn and Kevin Feige and could release them only after they gave you the role that they want in either of their universes, who would you want to be cast as? I know who I would cast you as, but who would you be cast as?
I think that's far more interesting. Who would you cast me as?
You're Wonder Woman, obviously.
Okay, I'll do it. Or Black Widow, or Catwoman. I don't think they're in the same
It's
universe,
whatever you
right?
want. It's
I
alternate
have a
universe, whatever you want.
I have trouble delineating between DC and Marvel, and I'm so embarrassed to admit that
It's
at a
okay.
con.
It's okay.
But I'll work on that, I promise. I'm starting to get the hang of it, but clearly it's a bit fuzzy still. Did I cross any boundaries?
You did great.
I did.
You
no,
did
I
great.
did. Oh,
You did great.
don't pretty girl me.
I'm not pretty girl you at all.
You did great,
I'm accepting.
honey.
We're all very accepting here in Seattle. You be you. You can be anyone you want to be, man.
I love it. Okay. Well, I'm embarrassed, though. Turning red. Okay, thanks.
Who would I be?
You'd be someone very important. You would be like,
Aunt May.
no, not Aunt May. I would say like Zatanna, or somebody like the all-powerful magician, Zatanna.
That sounds good. Okay.
I like
That sounds good. Okay, cool.
Who would I be? Say Lex Luthor.
Sorry, you'd be Loki.
Yeah, okay.
We love you guys. Please tell Sarah to come.
Okay.
All right, peace.
Is Loki an acceptable substitute for like?
Well, it's kind of taken by a pretty freaking good actor, but yeah, as soon as we can get rid of
so
it.
are all my characters as well, but I mean, it's a dream situation, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a dream sequence. Anything's possible.
Tom Hiddleston is dead, and I get Loki. Yes.
He's so
Honey, I just had a great dream.
Hi.
Hi, I'm another Tom. I'm from Vancouver, Washington, the real Washington, mind you. I just like to ask Harry Dresden a question there.
Yeah.
Is there any chance we could see you comprising the real Harry Dresden as opposed to that poser that actually did the first series? As a real
If Peter,
official
if
Harry Dresden.
Peter Jackson would have to like direct it and Gandalf me, like because Harry is like 6'5", and I ain't, you know. So like, but hey, man, Gandalf looked super tall in the movie, so I don't know what they did, but if they did that, then yeah, sure.
It doesn't matter. Everybody else would be a poser.
Everybody.
Sorry, you are
Thank you,
Harry
man.
Dresden, man. You're the best. Are you gonna do any more of the books?
I am going to be recording the books until I or Harry is dead.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I
Hell
appreciate
yeah.
it.
This really took the turn after you killed off Tom Hiddleston at this. Hi.
Hi, my name's Terry. I'm from the Seattle area. With all those long hours and such that you guys were working, did you guys play any pranks on each other or do something real? That was my expectation. I'd like to know what you did to kind of bond and make each
To
other
bond
pay.
or to
Oh, I'm
just
sorry, it's
be mean?
more like make each other pay for the long hours that you're.
Well, it wasn't their fault. But I did take it out on Nikki a lot. Nikki, I spent a lot of time working with Nikki, and I would saran wrap his toilet. And I did that once. And then whenever I had a kissing scene, it was specifically the episode, it was part 1 and part 2, and I can't remember the name of the episode, but with the worms.
Oh.
And we're trapped in the basement, I think.
one?
Yeah. So I would try to make my breath really, really bad, and I would eat I'd eat bagel and cream cheese and capers and onions and all that, and then he would have something like tuna, and then we would try to gross each other out because I mean we were so it was just maybe bored. Not boredom. I was never bored, but it was just like messing with each other. Yeah, it was just let me mess with them today, I guess. Yeah, just we're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did any of that. Like, it's weird. I was trying the method for Spike, which is that you really kind of sink into the character and you don't come out, which is very effective. And I kind of learned you don't do that in television because it eats you alive. Like, if you want to do the method for a film, then you're going to be sinking down into that character for a few months. But if you're on a TV show,
10
it's like,
years.
yeah, you know, like you're gonna go
Problematic.
crazy, you know. So I did that, and Spike's a loner, so I didn't hang out very much. I was really just I was just keeping to myself, kind of alone, a lot. And I remember there's a gag reel that they show at the rap party every year, and they're probably out on the net now. And I'm not in them. Right?
I'm not either.
I'm not in them. And I went to Joss and I was like, "What's wrong, man? I'm never in the gag reel. Like, you don't like me? What's wrong?" And he's like, "Oh, I'll tell you. It's because you're boring." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Every time that the call cut, you do exactly the same thing, James. For years, you do the same thing. You make sure you're on your mark. Your glance go down. You go back to your chair. Thank you. It's chair.
Sorry.
And I had a hard time with it. Thank you. You
Confirmed.
saved me.
Chair.
And you check to see if you know your lines, and that's all you do. However, when we call action, it's like we released a wild animal on the set. So don't change what you're doing, but you're not a gag reel kind of actor. So.
Were you ever a victim of any pranks or anything like that?
Nope.
That's the power of being Spike. Do you have
We
anything?
didn't work together long enough.
Yeah.
I would have got him.
I got my toilet seat for sure. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Richard. I'm from San Jose, California. And I was wondering, what was the most difficult scene to film for you and why?
Well, I can jump into that one. Being dead was really hard work. I mean, from sitting in the chair early in the morning getting spray painted blue, from my departure cake came when I was the bluest in a red robe. That was really fun. But yeah, that was really hard. And I mean, it sounds crazy, but they didn't have the CGTV, right? And so they couldn't just take out your pulse. So you had to really lower your breathing and your, yes, thank you. And so that was actually, strangely enough, the hardest episode for me. It wasn't fun being dead either. I kept having to cry because I was so sad.
Oh.
Not breathing on camera, too, is hard. Like not breathing on stage, you can get away with little breaths, but film sees everything, so you just don't breathe between action and cut, which can be a minute, minute and a half. And you keep doing that all day, and you kind of get into a panic, like, oh, I'm not going to breathe again.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, God, is this scene going to be over? Because I need to breathe.
We're having so much fun. I don't know if I want to answer this question. It's hard. Just real quick. The hardest scene for me was the bathroom scene where I attacked Buffy. I don't watch movies that stuff is in. I don't audition for parts where that is involved. If I see it on television, I got to turn it off before I kick the thing in. You know, I just it's not my thing. And I was contracted to do that. By the time that came down the ropes, I was contracted to do that. So that was the hardest day of my professional career. That was horrible. Yeah.
Thank you.
Back to fun. We're having fun again, all right? Okay? Super fun.
That's why you're on that couch. You didn't play any pranks. What? I said that's why you're on that couch. You didn't play any pranks. Hi.
Hi there, my name is Jana, and I'm from Seattle. I actually live about 10 minutes that way, I think.
Party at your house.
Yeah, come on down.
I'm kidding.
I'm there. This is for James and Charisma. I'm a Supernatural fan. And I was wondering if you would talk a little bit about the episode that you did together, because it's a favorite.
Yeah.
And you're here, and so I'm going to ask about it.
Sure. So we had to speak Romanian, and I don't speak Romanian or anything
Who
close
does,
to
really?
it. And you know, I'm kind of panicking. We got a coach. We got a gentleman that did speak the language come, because I didn't realize that we kind of found out like last minute, you're gonna have to do this spell in Romanian.
Yeah, they didn't like warn us and give us like a week to prepare. It was kind of like
It was kind of
on the set. I think.
Well, I don't know why we didn't know it. For whatever reason, we were both totally thrown off by it, but they did all that they could to kind of support us through that. So they brought in a gentleman that spoke Romanian, and we were both like, okay, listen, this isn't happening. It's just like hard language. We're totally butchering it. It's anybody that speaks Romanian is gonna just know that we're lying. Like, it's just terrible, and I care and he cares. And so then we're trying to think of ideas. So I remember we were asking them to spell it out on poster cards phonetically so that we could kind of get the pronunciation correctly. That was probably one of the most challenging, but also humorous, but then also scary. I wanted to do a good job. He wanted to do a good job. We were guest stars on this very famous show, you know, with these very famous actors. And, you know, we're like, it felt nice to have somebody to go through that with.
Yeah.
Had I been on my own, I would have lost it. I would have just lost it.
I remember feeling protective of you.
Oh.
I mean, I was nervous on my own, but I was primarily like, you can't do that to Charisma. This is unfair. And I was like,
But
okay.
it was a ruse, because it was really, you can't do this to me.
But that's
Yeah, don't do that to her.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. That was
Got it.
probably what was going on. But I was like, get the biggest poster board you can. I want massive, massive, and big letters and
Yeah.
spell it out
Yeah.
because we're
And
in.
they did it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they were
Thank God.
supportive. They were really great. But that was like funny and hard and scary and just all the things in one moment.
That's like the actor's nightmare.
Yeah.
Yes, it
You
is.
know?
Essentially.
Oh,
In Romanian.
yes.
Romanian.
But like,
Does anybody speak Romanian in this room?
thank.
Yeah, okay.
Point proven. Thank you. But there are certain actors where when you're working with them and you look in their eyes, you do not know what's going to happen next because they're really just present and they're really just listening to you, and it becomes exciting and dangerous and fun and everything. And you never really know who has that facility because some actors are very good and the camera almost can't catch it, but really some actors are just giving a plan that they made up the night before. And I'm sometimes guilty of that, by the way. But Charisma is just with you. And she's just like, what? I don't know what I'm going to do. What are you going to do? You know, like it's just very immediate and kind of dangerous. Kind of like, oh my God, I have
Nice.
no
What a
idea
lovely
what's going to happen.
compliment. I
Yeah.
need to do more cons with you. That's sweet. That's a very kind thing.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Real quick before we get to our next question, Kristine, there's always, throughout the series, there's always sort of like, I looked at the texts, and the texts say this about the Slayer, and this is what we've heard about the Slayer. What do you think the text said about the mother of the Slayer?
Oh, God, I have no idea.
I'll let you think about it.
I mean, sorry, I'm going to ask this silly question. Do you mean text message? Like, or do you mean the text as in the script? Like
no. Like there's always like, we looked at the texts in the library, and there's always like, this is what it said, that the Slayer and the prophecy and all of that.
the text.
Mother of the
reference.
Slayer has an ulcer. You should be, like just having kids, you know, you're worried about them if they go out on Saturday night. Can you imagine if you're the mother of the Slayer? Oh my.
I just envision there's an entire historical chapter about the mother of the Slayer
I
somewhere in
think
that
that is-
library.
No, and she's called Mary.
I think that's an incredible question. That's an awesome question.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me know if anything comes to mind.
Fan fiction, let's go.
Hi.
My name's Chris. I'm from Seattle, and Charisma and James, you guys were my role models growing up. Buffy came out when I was 10, so you were my idol male and female role models.
Thank you so much.
And I have a two-part question for the both of you. Charisma. What impact do you think you've had being the only actor to be in all 4 major Supernatural shows, Buffy, Angel, Charmed, and Supernatural? And James, I'd regret it if I didn't ask you this, so don't get angry. But what was it like to get your ass kicked by a 2-foot-tall puppet?
You go first. That was great.
Okay, humiliating for a different reason. So I got my ass kicked, but I think it was a one-punch deal, right? The puppet just like bam, and then Spike just sails up 15 feet in the air and drops on the concrete, right? Well, that wasn't me. That was Steve Tartaglia, who was the other Spike. He played Spike as much as I did. He was a stuntman who had come over from Shanghai. He was the premier Caucasian actor / stunt performer in Hong Kong. Sorry, not Shanghai, in Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, they don't have like safety rules. So Steve was willing to do stuff that other stuntmen would be like, I ain't doing that. That guy's insane. But they so to do the gag, they wire Steve up and they yank him up 16 feet and dead drop him onto concrete. That's the gag. So Steve's like, okay, you know, and they do it, and they just did it one time, but Steve's like kind of like twitching and kind of giggling on the floor, and I go over there, and he's got to hold the position. He can't move until I get there and kind of roll into exactly the same position so it sells well on camera. And I get into his position, and someone on the crew said, James, would you like a pillow while we set up your shot? It just, oh my God.
Pretty girl.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, for fun? No, I don't need a pillow. Just take me to the hospital. So.
He's twitching and giggling, and his spine has been severed.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
we get you a pillow, James?
Pillow, yeah. Oh, man. Absolutely humiliating.
That's a great story. I haven't ever heard it. This is so fun for me to hear this stuff. That is such a shocking thing to hear because you're right. Like that, I was on Charmed, I was on Buffy, I was on Angel, and Supernatural. That feels really, really good. That's pretty awesome. And somebody said that to me at the table today. They saw my photos and they're like, I didn't realize that you were a part of so many different fandoms. And I'm grateful for that. My friendship with Holly Marie Combs was the reason why I got to be included in the Charmed episodes. We worked on a TV movie 6 weeks after my son was born called See Jane Date. We were shooting in Montreal in the summer. It was beautiful, but it was also very hard work. I was in every single scene, and every 3 hours I was either nursing or pumping. And I had an assistant with me in the room, in the reading lines with me, and feeding me a little bit of coffee because you can't have too much coffee because you're nursing. And I, had the complications with the nursing and the plugged ducts, and I was calling it was just very hard work. But it was the first time that I really felt supported, and everybody was doing their level best to give me the opportunity to put my best foot forward. And I've never felt more empowered than in that position, in that job, where I knew I had tremendous responsibility. I was in every scene. I had tremendous responsibility with my son, and I was able to effectively manage it. And I walked away from that going, that's how you do it. Like, women are amazing. But on that set, I met Holly, and Holly was sort of watching and supporting, and we got to have really special conversations about grief. She had lost a horse, and I don't know, that something about that movie, that TV, See Jane Date, also Zachary Levi was on it, and Antonio Sabato Jr. and all these like delicious men. It was a terrible job, but wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I bonded with her, and that made that possible to go over to Charm. So when that part for the seer, Kira, came up, she recommended me, and it worked out. I found that a lot of jobs are relationship-based. It doesn't start that way, but along the way, you build wonderful relationships with people, and it just parlays into fantastic opportunities like that. So I'm very honored to be included in those fandoms. So thank you for asking that and pointing that out, and I feel very honored. Thank you.
Well, that's my favorite role of yours, is the seer. So
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, it must be the outfit.
Thank you. And to add another fandom that you're a part of, you were also on Veronica Mars.
I was. That was fun. And those kids were incredibly together and involved in philanthropy, and like not even 20. I mean, it's like when I do cons with Holly, Holly's like, we were at the bar and people were doing drugs and we were like crazy, blah, right? Like you just go kind of crazy a little bit. And then I go on Veronica Mars and they're all like rescuing animals and going to Uganda and starting Coney 2022 or something great, all these amazing, these kids were so together. It was crazy. I'm like, wow.
Well, credit where credit is due. I'm always struck by your connection to the community and your involvement with fans. I saw that you were already visiting the Pride Lounge yesterday here.
Yeah.
And you have MyCon.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a bit about that?
I mean, quickly, sure. Like, first of all, I am an ambassador to that community for that particular free love. It's supportive of people that are LGBTQAI community members, and it's particularly the young ones that end up not being supported by their families, that end up on the streets and are not accepted, where we want to engender connection and love and community and being a part of, right? So I would never want anybody to, I mean, I know I played a mean girl and it was like, you can't sit with me, but in my heart is,
inclusivity always, connection always. And I know James does this too, and I love doing the cons. I love coming here. I love connecting with you guys. I love all of this. And so I did start a virtual con thing called MyCon. So go onto that website and you'll see more. MyCon.live. But thank you.
Thank you. And y'all, we have so many questions. We're not going to get to everyone's questions. So I do just want to remind everyone that immediately after this panel, you all are going to be down there signing, meeting with the fans. So if your question doesn't get asked, that's a great opportunity to ask them when you go on down for your signing or your photos. Hi.
Hello, I'm Ben from Seattle. Welcome. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. My question is for James, as somebody who had to do a remarkably consistent British accent for like 10 years. Who were some of your reference points and sort of inspirations for that?
Tony Head. Tony Head, man. Like, in the beginning, it wasn't that great. In the beginning, if you watch the first couple episodes, it's not, like, directors used to say, is Spike Australian? I'd be like, oh, no. And there was a script where I said the word bullocks, which is British for something that I can't even tell you what it is. So, like, it was written by an American, and they spelled it BULL''LOCKS. So I said it as written, bullocks. And Tony came, after seeing the episode, Tony was like, I've got a word with you. That's not how we say it. It's bullocks. So you're embarrassing me back home, and I'm going to help you now. And that man tutored me by force. He would show up, the new script would get dropped off, and I would know within 24 hours, the knock would come on the door, Tony would come in, he would not ask to be invited, he would come in, and he would go over every line that I had, and I would say the line until he was satisfied that I was no longer an embarrassment. Yeah.
But he's rather posh.
Oh,
So-
well, unless you make him angry. So. No, but he...
So that's interesting that he was schooling you on how to be Cockney, right? Because your
Yeah.
character is more Cockney.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I'm an American, but I can be Cockney if I want to. So, Tony's no different. You know, he can put it on if he wants to.
Sure.
Yeah. No, but he knew better than me. Is the thing. So, yeah.
All right, well, we've had just a few minutes left, so it's looking like you're going to be our final question. Hi.
Hi, I am Marnie from Seattle. And my question is for Kristine and Charisma. Since you did not get to be in Once More with Feeling, what style of song would you have wanted to do?
We were just talking about this backstage. We do not sing.
Yes. Pretend you could.
Oh, well, if I had to pretend. Do you want to take that one first? Let me
Wow.
ponder that for a moment.
Yeah, like singing, it's hard to imagine what song. But what comes to mind was in the episode where everybody takes the love potion, and you and I like had a whole thing going about, don't touch Xander, and that would be fun.
That would be
Yeah,
fun.
like a cat song.
Ooh, I like that. I mean, in my wildest dreams, I'm a fantastic singer. I mean, I can belt it out on Broadway, like music, like I love musicals. I am a musical theater person that isn't musical, so I just feel tortured that way. So, I mean, who doesn't want to be a rock star on stage? I was in Strange Frequency once, and I got to be on stage with Sebastian Bach and do like a fake rock and roll, like we were in a band. He was a Grim Reaper. It was very interesting. Dan Merchant. But I think kind of like I could just see Cordelia doing some Broadway thing. It would just be very funny if that was his style.
Yeah.
What do you imagine?
I imagine Joyce doing death metal. Like,
Really?
I'm so frustrated with my daughter. I am gonna lose my soul.
Now do me.
You could do it in the band candy costume.
Now do Cordelia.
punk rock.
Punk
Oh,
rock.
really?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
All right.
yeah.
We're all dead. There's no future.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there'll be at the end.
Sure.
As with every punk rock song, snaps at the end.
Thank
Thank you so much. Y'all, we are coming on the end of our time, so y'all are going to be down at the autograph tables pretty much immediately after this. Any last minute things you want to pop out before we send you on your way?
Just a lot of gratitude. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, you guys are
Well,
amazing.
Love Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gratitude for Charisma, James, and Kristine, and gratitude for all of you. Thank you so much, everyone.